he had a son from Hogo. Who brought Hogo to his house? Avraham Avinu didn't want the Hogo, right? Sarah brought Hogo to the house. So the husband doesn't want, and the wife wants. Then the wife told the husband, "I want to have a son," right? Then when he was 13, she said to Avraham, "I'm the one that brought him in. I'm the one that kick him out now. I don't want him, right? Like what is it called?
As a shaman, but that's what someone could maybe think of.
And then the other thing you don't understand, how is possible that after she passed away, Avraham Avinu go and marry her?
Okay.
You know that your wife hated her so much. And after she passed away, you're going to marry her. And not only that, you're getting 6 more children, that this is the whole Arabs, whatever.
Right.
It's a good question, right?
You have an idea?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
This is not the Sicha that we learned tonight.
This is actually touching a little bit.
We'll see.
But maybe after, you can tell me after the shir if the answer.
How we know that Sarah Imenu was Chabadniki?
How do we know? 1 minute.
Has something to do with the oil.
Chayei Sarah Ishtecha ba'oel.
Oh. So this week's shir will be on Sicha, Parshas Chayei Sarah, Chiluk Teslo, in the first Sicha, volume 15. We'll
the first Chayei Sarah?
The first Chayei Sarah. It's a very, very, very unique Sicha, because in this week's Parsha, there's a lot of things that happened, that occurred. We have the first 2 aliyahs is all about Sarah Imenu, about her passing of Ramban and Moras Machpelah. We have afterwards, for the next few aliyahs, we'll go on a whole discussion of Rivka, Liyav, going to Chor and getting Rivka. Now another discussion part of the Parsha, the bringing of Rivka, the Yitzchak, the Vaynach Yitzchak, after the Ima Yitzchak feels to have a Nechama, he feels condoled. Is that the right word? Condoled?
That's the right word.
Condoled? Is that?
Nechama.
Yeah. He feels condoled after the passing of his mother. We see this Chalak on the Parasha talks about B'nai Ketura. Avram marries Ketura. So very, very, very similarly, they're very, very, very different details, separate details in this Parasha, and they're just a bunch of details. One thing, and there's no seemingly, it's hard to find the connection how all these details and all these things that happened and occurred all fall into one Parsha, and they're all bringing out the same Nekuda. This Sicha, the Rebbe is going to go through every chelik of this week's Parsha, and they're going to explain how all these inyonim of this week's Parsha, they're all connected, they're all intertwined, they're all one Nekuda, they're one idea, all about one idea, and this idea is going to be hinted in the word Chayei Sarah, which Chayei Sarah means the life of Sarah. So this is B'chlal a very big, it's a very known thing that Rebbe discusses and talks about it many times, how the name of each Parsha brings out the Teichen of the whole Parsha. Right? We know B'chlal in Chassidus how the name of something, B'lashon HaKodesh, that Rebbe already writes it in Shari'ichet V'Amunah, the name of something.
The steam banging? Why the steam is on? Not cold. Okay.
We know that B'chlal, in Chassidus says that the name of everything, which is the way how it's written, B'lashon HaKodesh, that's the chayis of that thing. It's not just randomly that we have to know how to say the name that we should be specific for this thing and not for the other thing. We find a random word. It's not like that. Rather, that the name brings out, the name is the chayis, and brings down the inner teichen, the inner chayis, which is in that thing. So, when it comes to Parsha and Torah, that parsha, when you have Parshas Chayei Sarah, it's called Chayei Sarah, means Chayei Sarah is not just because randomly it happens to be that the first the first words of this Parshas Chayei Sarah. Rather that the name of the parsha comes out and the teichen of this week's parsha all comes out and all it lives. It's within these words of Chayei Sarah. So the obvious question which we have to understand is that the whole parsha from the beginning till the end is all about what happened after the passing of Sarah, after Chayei Sarah, after the life of Sarah. What's the name?
The parsha should be named Sarah Meta.
Yeah, or something.
Not the.
But how do you have a whole parsha which is happening after the passing of Sarah? How does that live in the parsha of Chayei Sarah?
Everything is as a result of the life of Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Sarah died.
Yes. Yeah.
And he called Chayei.
Yeah.
You're saying that.
Hey, החיים של סטורה.
החיים של שרה.
החיים של סטורה.
Meaning?
Not such a big political.
Yeah.
Learn.
No, but even if you say Chayim Shel Sarah, but Chayim
You're
is
talking about
the
the
end
death,
of life.
right away.
Talking about right away the first.
death.
No, like you give them a history.
Right, but the question is more than that. The question is that Chayei Sarah has to, the whole parsha, all the teichen of the parsha has to come out in the words of Chayei Sarah. So, I mean, Chayei Sarah is not just the teichen of Avram burying Sarah and the teichen of Yitzchak marrying Rivka, the teichen of Avram getting married to Keturah and Yishmael burying Avram Avinu. That's all about the word of Chayei Sarah. How is that about Chayei Sarah? So, you already mentioned something that Chayei Sarah is everything the result of Sarah, but so that's already getting closer to the answer. And the Gemara says, almost the famous Gemara in Sech Tainis, Yaakov Avinu loy makes. Yaakov Avinu didn't pass away. Kasha, the ask is, Gemara asks, if he chantul chantayo, softu safandaya, and you're gonna tell me that they said that Yaakov Avinu, when he passed away, they made Chanita, they did spices on him, and they made a spadim. How could you say that Yaakov Avinu loy makes?
Not literal, it's spiritual.
Oh, let's see.
That's the basic answer. I mean,
But wait, what does it mean spiritual? What does it mean? You have to understand what does it mean that he's living on spiritually. So the Gemara says that we have a hekesh from Yaakov to Zareh. So there's a certain possible we have a hekesh from Yaakov to Zareh. So Mazareh b'chaim. Everyone knows this Gemara. The Babach and speak. What's the Gemara in Tainis about Yaakov Avinu loy makes? I'll tell you the word right away. Mazareh b'chaim, afu b'chaim. So what's this idea of number one of Mazareh b'chaim, afu b'chaim? And what's this idea of that? What meaning? What's this idea of the fact that the Zed of Yaakov, the fact that the children of Yaakov are alive? That means that he's also alive. And what's this idea that the Yaakov Avinu's Chaim has to be what's this whole thing that Yaakov Avinu's life has to be a Nitzchi's life? So the Nekudas Hadover is as the emes inyan of Chaim is how it's in the pasuk of Hashem Elokim emes hu Elokim Chaim. The emes inyan of Chaim is the inyan of Nitzchi's, the inyan of something which is lanetzach, something which stays forever. And when we say Mazareh b'chaim fu b'chaim, what does it mean? Because Yaakov Avinu's physical life, the life that he lived, then the life that he lives forever. What does it mean that the life that he lives forever? Whatever thing that Yaakov stands for, whatever inyan that Yaakov was all about, those things continue in his generation. It's shot that his life, his 130 years of life that he had, those 130 years last forever. Those are everlasting 130 years, even though it was a lifespan he was born from age 0 and passed away by age 147. But those 147 years are years of our Chaim that they're everlasting Chaim. And those 147 years it was brought out. Well, whatever Yaakov Avinu stands, and when Yaakov Avinu's children are living and going in that mahalach, that shows that Chaim, when Yaakov, the Chaim of Yaakov is an emes Chaim, is an emes life. It's a nitzchi,
It's not every Av, Abraham, Yitzchak, everybody was the same thing. To continue the Masoret and not only Yaakov.
Right. It's obviously there's something special. Something special about Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was could be also Yaakov Avinu was the Bchir Havis, and Yaakov Avinu is the Zayd of Klal Yisrael. Avraham Avinu has also other descendants. Yitzchak has also other descendants. Yaakov Avinu is specifically for Klal Yisrael because he's Shleim.
Maybe because he has 12 Shvat.
Could be also.
This is more a
In
continuation.
different words, you start living after passing away.
Or the fact that his life continues on after his passing shows that his life was an emes life.
Yes.
Was a nitzchi life. So the same thing also when it comes to Chayei Sarah. When you understand the union of Chayei Sarah is Chayei Sarah doesn't just mean the physical life of Sarah, but it means that the life of Sarah is an everlasting life. Those 120 years of Sarah, whatever Sarah was about, whatever Sarah stand from, what she stood up for, those were things, those were inyanim that those were inyanim who carried on and lived even after her 127 years. The Mela and the Mela, all the inyanim of this week's parsha, this is where we have to find. We have to see how all the inyanim of this week's parsha are all bringing out how what Sarah stands for, what Sarah was about, all come to expression, and you could see them in all the occurrences which happen in this week's parsha. So this is what we have to understand: how are all these occurrences which are happening in this week's parsha are all bringing out the life of Sarah, how Sarah is how Sarah's life carries and continues on. So let's go to the beginning of this week's parsha. This week's parsha, Avraham Avinu stays Chumash. Avraham Avinu tells Bnei Ches. Avraham Avinu wants to bury Sarah Yimenu Maras Machpelah. Wants to buy Maras Machpelah. Tells Bnei Ches, Ger v'Seishav Anoichi Imach. I may. Sells two different and seemingly opposite lashonos. I'm a ger. A ger is like someone who a stranger, someone which is not from this place. Then it says I'm a taisha. I'm from here.
I own this space.
We're getting there. But v'seishav literally means that I'm not a stranger.
I'm living here.
So Rashi explains a citizen.
Yeah, Ezra.
Rashi explains what are these two lashonos gave v'seishav Anoichi Imachem. Rashi says like this. There's Avraham Avinu is telling them, if you're gonna, it's almost like holding them by their neck. Almost seems like you're saying that if you're gonna give me Maras Machpelah, so then I'll be like a ger, be like a stranger, meaning I'll be like a strange person who has no shaykhs to this piece of land, and I have to buy it from you. It has no shaykhs to me, it belongs to you, and I have to buy it for you. I'm gonna act like a stranger. If you're not gonna want to sell it to me, then I'm gonna take it with force, by force. Because Hashem told me, I'm gonna give you the whole Eretz Yisrael. I'm going to give you the whole Eretz Yisrael. The whole Eretz Yisrael belongs to you. And Mamela, if you're not going to give it to me with will, I'm going to take it by force.
Isn't that for the future?
Oh, very good question. So we do.
Avraham Avinu is talking in the here and now, and I thought that this story is that in the future, after the descendants are of Adam, in the future I'll I'll bring you out and I'll make you a great nation. I'll bring you to Canaan. That's in the future.
Right.
But he used the word to them right now. He used station, station.
Right, but he's asking, what is Avraham Avinu finding over here?
They could say the same thing I just said.
Yeah. So we do find that there are two psukim when it talks about the giving of Eretz Yisrael to Avraham Avinu, to the children, to the descendants of Avraham Avinu. We find there are two lashonos. There's one lashon, Zaracha Etein is Aretz. Etein means that I'll give in future. In the future, he'll give it, meaning that's not him. Like you said,
Not now.
Not now.
Right.
Not his. It's not his right now. Then there's another pasuk. I gave the land.
Gave it to you.
I gave it to him.
So then
The
they want to
pets.
see what's the proof.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. 1 minute.
So
1
normally
minute.
when you get a piece of land, you got to show a deed. They're going to say, "Show me the deed."
Right. Okay. Okay. But besides for that, which is a question, and the question is, in other words, the question is, even if you say that it's Sati that I gave it, but Avraham Avinu is talking to Bnei Ches. Bnei Ches didn't see this nevuah, so why should they? Avraham Avinu says, "It's mine." Hashem told his mom. What does that mean? Anything to the Bnei Ches that the Bnei Ches are going to say, "Oh, Hashem gave it to you, so we're going to give it to you."
They have to believe in Hashem first.
Yeah.
Okay, but also,
They believe in the 400 shekel.
So then he had to pay for it.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
but besides for that, that's actually the difference with the way how this Maimer Azal is a medrash which Rashi took it from a medrash in Bereshis Rabbah. Bereshis Rabbah, they actually bring on this possible Zarach on the Sati Sarah Tazos. But you look in the Lashon of Rashi. Rashi says that Rashi brings the possible Zarach Etin Sarah Tazos, which is going on Lashon also. Future. So the question and the reason why for that is because up in Pshuta Shal Mikra, seeing Rashi is Pshuta Shal Mikra. Rashi is the basic pshat without any hints or drash, what they say. It's Pshuta Shal Mikra. So Pshuta Shal Mikra and simple for Ben Chamish Shal Mikra for the 5-year-old who's learning Torah. Seemingly, it's a Zarach Etin. It's not his yet. Hashem's going to give it to him. So here comes the question. And according to Pshuta Shal Mikra, according to Rashi, so besides the fact that you have your question on the side, but Rashi is learning that it wasn't his yet. It was the future. So it was the future. What was Avraham Avinu's demand to Bnei Ches that if not, I'll take it by force.
If he says he'll make a machama, then that's a separate thing.
Right, but he's not
He
saying
doesn't say that.
right. He's not saying that.
I'm willing to take it like if I'm an immigrant, and I'm willing to take it if I'm following it.
I'm the balabos.
I'm the follower.
I'm the balabos.
You could
It's not,
always-
now keep Pshuta Shal Mikra. He was not balabos here. So what is he saying with Arachon Sati Sarah Tazos? Okay.
Why Abraham has to come to Mechet, to Ephron, and tell him, listen, he start bargaining. Say, listen, I want to buy it, there's the money, leave me alone. Why tell him, Ger, the Toshav, if you don't give it to me, I'm Ger. If you give it to me, I'm
Okay.
Toshav."
This is in other words a question.
This
This is in other words what we're asking over here. What is Avraham Avinu trying to bring out with this Ger V'Sayshur?
That's one of the things, a business deal.
Yeah. So Adi, so let's go back a little bit to Avram and Sarah. Let's try to understand the difference between Avram Avinu and Sarah Imenu. Both of them were very fundamental yesodis in the hashpah of bringing down Hashem into this world, bringing down the name of Hashem into this world, bringing down Getlichkeit, as we say, Likus, into this world. But there's a very fundamental difference between Avram and Sarah. Avram, we know why is Avram Avinu called Avram? Hamoim Goyim, father of a Hamoim means a lot of nations. Meaning to say that by Avram Avinu was very stressed, was put in stress the Indian that Avram Avinu's way how he brought down Likus into this world is by giving it to everyone, being open to everyone. Everyone deserves, and everyone can get, and everyone can be makabel.
It was Mefarsim Melakut to everybody.
To everybody. We see Avram Avinu says, even Lu Yishmol Yichil Lefanacha. Hashem told Avram Avinu that you can have Yitzchak. What does Avram Avinu ask? He should live in front of you. Rashi says, what's Lefanacha in front of you? Yichya b'yirascha. He should live with your fear. He should fear Hashem. So we see that Avram Avinu's Inyan wasn't, Avram Avinu on his own, and before we come to Sarah, Avraham Avinu on his own, there wasn't this differentiation of Yidden. There wasn't mudgish so much. This idea of Klal Yisrael. How Klal Yisrael is the main. Klal Yisrael is the Iker. Klal Yisrael is the let's say it's called what? Not just the Am HaNivchar, it's the chosen nation. It's the Nekuda. It's the Tachlis. It's the point of everything.
Yikr of the whole world.
What?
Yikr.
The Iker, the main idea and the main purpose of everything, of all the nations on the whole world, is all this Am Yisrael, all this Yidden. Avraham Avinu, we see Avraham Avinu was very much into let's be mashpia to everyone. Let's give to everyone. Sorry, Menu. What was Sorry Menu's? What was Sorry Menu's
goal?
Not just goal. What was Sorry Menu's
Ramida?
her
Focusing.
her mida, but there's a word in English I'm looking for. But okay.
They use a Hebrew word.
Yeah. All Sorry Menu's mean approach. All Sorry Menu's approach. Sorry Menu's tell them go. Yeah, approach. Approach is good. All Sorry Menu's approach. Goresh as Ama Azois Vas V'no Kila Yirash Ben Ama Azois and Bnei. Send her away because this Yishmael and Yitzchak, they're not kids who are on the same level, and they have Shava b'Shava. They have, just on the same connection to Avram, and are both same inheritance of Avram.
They're not on the same page.
They're not on the same page. Yitzchak is the main. Yitzchak ki zaracha. Yitzchak is ki b'Yitzchak yikared lecha zara. Yitzchak is the zera of Avram. Yitzchak is the idea and the purpose, and Yitzchak is everything. And Yishmael is here just for Yitzchak.
Can I make a comment? What's interesting, sorry. Normally we say that we go by the father for Yitzchak, but here we're going by Sarah, or at least Sarah's derech, that Yitzchak is the main one.
Right.
Even though
The average of Torah Avraham Avinu, Kol asher omer lecha Sarah shema
Not
v'kol.
the toilet.
it says, listen to
Whole
your wife.
voice is
You have to
higher
hire
than Avraham Avinu.
She's the higher here. Yeah. And we're going to see throughout the Sicha how this Nekuda comes out in the whole way of the way of Avraham being conducted after Sarah's passing was all this Nekuda that everything is all about Yitzchak.
You got the message?
Yeah, that's up. And this Nekuda, how everything is Dafke Yitzchak, this comes out and expresses itself in every single part of this passion. Interesting, just side note. There was a Yid, Rav Hutner. Some of you know, most of you know probably who Rav Hutner.
And the one.
Everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
And the one.
Yeah.
Was.
And the one.
So Rav Hutner was on a plane. I think could be Eretz Yisrael. No, it was hijacked.
Black
Early
September.
70s.
You're right.
Was
that on Tevi? I'm not sure. It wasn't on Tevi.
Black September.
Black September.
Yeah, Black September.
It was probably 1970, about
78.
40.
The Israeli pilot, the El Al pilot,
Yeah.
the Air Force pilot before.
Yeah.
When he came to the plane with the knife, however, he took the stick and made the plane go like this. So he fell. He jumped on him and he got him.
Who
The Israeli pilot.
Yeah.
He
No,
came
they
into
landed
cover.
in-
Wasn't
landed in
about
the-
20.
No, but how they took over.
Talking
the
about
place.
Kozo Komoto.
What do you mean that how the Arabs took over or how the Israelis took over?
Yoni.
Yeah,
Kozo
yeah.
Komoto
Mm.
was the
Whatever,
hijack.
but the point is that he was on
The
the
guy
plane.
from
and the
Japan.
plane was out.
That's the one.
Right.
See if put Kozo Komoto and it's
So
Google.
PLO, yeah, PLO
Let's
got
go
it.
to the
They pay money.
Okay.
So when Rav Hutner was he came back to New York. Moshe Feinstein went to go greet him by the airport. Told him Moshe the lo yirash is brent by the Eugen. The lo yirash. Told him Moshe the lo yirash. This the lo yirash. What Tzari Imenu told Avraham Avinu. Ki la yirash ben ha'ama adei tzedni im Yitzchak. Said the la yirash is burning in their eyes.
The fathers them.
What?
The fathers.
It's bothering you.
To this day, fathers them.
For sure. What do you do next time?
Yeah.
So this, so now we understand that what's the difference between Avram and Sarah. Now we have let's go now to the story of Maras and Machpelah. Before we go into this, forget about the whole story of Avram, the back and forth between Avram and Menachem. Let's talk about the actual idea that Avram Avinu buried sort of in Maras and Machpelah. Who was buried in Maras and Machpelah? Adam and Chava are the Baba and Zayda from all human race. They're all in Adam and Chava. So what's this idea that sort of from all the other people, they all Adam and Chava belong to them? Adam and Chava belong to Avram Avinu and to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Sorry, they're international. They're for Yidden L'Chayre and L'Havdil also going. What's this idea that Sarah made that the Adam and Chava belong to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? And Sarah Rishka Rachman later. So here we see this Nekuda, how what's the Ikar of Adam and Chava? The Ikar of Adam and Chava, what is the main tachlis, and what's their main inyan of Adam and Chava? Where does it come down? It comes down in Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And so Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. Where did Adam Rishon see that this is where this is his inyan, and this is why he came into the world? He saw this in Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and everyone else was just to come to this, just to bring that should come to this place that it should be the Am Yisrael. And this is the pshat that Maras HaMachpelah is something. It's not international. Maras HaMachpelah is something which is shaykh specifically to Eden, the Shaykh Dafka to Eden. So if we see already from this Nakuda how this inyan of this inyan of this inyan of this inyan of Sarah, how the main inyan, the tachlis, is all Bnei Yisrael, all about Yidden. It comes out and expresses itself in this nekuda, the fact that where is Kavura Sarah, it's in Hamaras Machpelah. That's the first part. That's one part of the passion. Let's go now to let's jump to another passion.
We know that Adam and Chava was buried in Marat Machpelah, and then Hashem told Avraham Avinu, the first one, that you have to bury Sarah and you and Yaakov and Leah.
Yeah.
It's saying in the parsha somewhere.
Maybe it's a medrash. It's not in the medrash. Not just that. It doesn't even say anywhere in parsha that Adam and Chava were not Maras Machpelah.
That's where they were buried.
But it doesn't say anywhere there. It just said that Maras Machpelah.
Who buried them?
Adam and Chava. Not sure.
And when you go to Machpelah, there's no. We don't have a Masorah that we have a Masorah that Avram is below a certain area and Yitzchak and so on, but not by Adam and Chava.
Right.
So the Masorah doesn't go to the point to the Metzias that if you go to the Maras Machpelah, that we have a tradition in particular that Adam is below a certain area and Chava is below a certain area, and you can daven at that particular place.
There's a number one. Something which says in Torah, something which is brought down.
I'm not doubting the Masorah. Right. I'm just saying that.
Right. We don't know.
Place,
right. We don't know exactly where. We don't know exactly where they're buried. Because actually, the Gemara brings down a story. There was a Yid named Rabbi Bano. Rabbi Bano saw that. He had his job was that he would find all the places, all the Midas, all the caves where the tzaddikim are buried in. So a lot of those people, a random person wouldn't want to walk into such a place because it was a very holy place. Didn't belong over there. But Rabbi Bano would go into these caves. Why would he go into these caves? Because he had to there's halacha that when you have a kever sos, when you have a kever, which you have a kever which is there's a mace inside and it's all covered all around, so it's tummy from all it's tummy from the person you go over it, you can't tummy. So that's why he would go to visit all these places and see exactly how big is it from inside. Like that, from outside he would make certain simonim, make certain sides and gates that make sure that the Kohanim don't go, or even Yisrael doesn't want to come tummy. You have Trumas and Maises who doesn't want to come tummy, and in the time of the Trumas and Maises that he shouldn't walk over these places. So it says that he came to Amas and Machpelah, and who does he see? He sees Eliezer Eved Avram. He says that Eliezer Eved Avram were from those people who live forever.
Him and Esav are buried in the head of Esav.
The head of Esav is also
And
there.
Eliezer,
Right. Eliezer is not buried.
No, not buried. He's in the Mount of Machpelah, and the Esav, when they cut the head, he flew to the Mount of Machpelah. Is that the body somewhere else?
Well, Eliezer is also buried in the market.
He's not
So he's
buried.
not buried. Eliezer was.
The medicine says that whole thing is coming in the air from south.
So it says so the Gemara says. Listen to an interesting Gemara. Gemara says that where's Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu was sleeping in the hands of Sarah. So so Eliezer told him that it comes to Eliezer, he wants to walk into the chamber of Avraham Avinu. So he says, knock. That's knocking. So they tell him he's allowed to walk in. Why? Because Rabbi Bana knows that in the Olam Haba there's no Yetzer Hara. So he'll understand this Ian of Avraham Avinu sleeping in Sarah's hands is not a Chaz v'Shalom Ian of Yetzer Hara. It's a lot of Ruchnis the Kinyan. Then the Gemara says how he ended up going into he wasn't allowed to see, but he ended up seeing the chamber of Adam Rishon. This is the Gemara. He says that the Adam Rishon, the beauty of Adam Rishon was so powerful that his heel of Adam Rishon would almost like you look at the sun, you would think that it's shvach, its brightness is shvach. Comparing it to the heel of the ankle of Adam Rishon. So we have a clear Gemara of someone of evidence, of someone who walked into of Rabbi Werner, who walked into the Matamaida and was able to see. Right. So we don't know exactly where. I guess Avraham Avinu we knew because we know where Yitzchak.
We know his body wasn't buried; it was just out in the open. I mean,
I wasn't there.
I understand.
I wasn't there. I can't tell you, but
Rabbi, even Ma'arat HaMachpelah, you go today, they say Avraham Avinu, the stink is buried here. Nobody knows exactly where. They have it says Tziyun, I forgot how they're writing there, but they don't know exactly, and nobody can go down.
Right.
In 1967, Harav Goren tried to go in. He was the chief rabbi of the Israeli army. And they put him with the rope, they put him down, and he got up. They put him all the way down. That's what they're saying. I don't know.
Makes for good PR.
You heard that?
Yeah, there's a big sign of the whole story over there.
Anyhow, so this is let's go on to the next thing of the sixth parasha. The sixth parasha, after that, we see the whole story of Yitzchak. The whole story of Yitzchak. Avraham Avinu is looking to make a shidduch of Yitzchak, right? Eliezer is thinking, maybe I should take Yitzchak as a son-in-law. So Avram says that no, Ata Baruch, Ata Order, Ani B'ni Baruch, and Ata Order, Ve'ein Order Medavid B'Baruch. He can't have. Eliezer was from the was cursed by Noach. Yitzchak is Baruch from Shem. Order and Baruch don't go together. So we're talking about Eliezer Eved Avram. Eliezer Eved Avram, we know that he was Doyle. Why he was called Damascus Eliezer? Because he was Doyle Mashke Meteres Rab. He was the one who
he knew everything.
He was the one, all Avram's Torah, who brought out, who taught it to the whole world of all of Yes Eved Avram. But we say that when it comes to when it comes about being a Yid, even you could be the finest goy in the world, but to a Yid, don't mix in. It's a whole different. This meaning this nekuda that a Yid is so much more, is the point and is the tachlis and is everything, is not just comparing to a guy who's a simple guy. Even to a guy like Eved Avram Avinu, which is from l'chayda you would call him Chassidei Umas Ha'olam, but a Yid is a whole different breed. And right this here, we see this nekuda of Sarah. How Sarah comes out when it comes to that the main point and the main inyan is the Yid. That's where we see it in the story of
How come all this year the Messiah Eliezer was with Abraham, was no Midgayer? You know everything from Abraham. You knew the whole Torah from Abraham. You said what Abraham doing all the time.
He obviously didn't have that neshama. It could be he learned the Torah from Avraham Avinu, but he did he have this neshama. Being a Yid is the fact that you have a neshama, and neshama is not something that you could decide that you want or you're not. It was given to. I hear the question. I'm not sure. Let's go. The time is coming a little bit short, so we have to try to chaparein. That now there's a little bit more to this. In Bichlal we know that because the whole kavan of goyim and umes ha'olam are all b'shvil Yisrael. The whole world is b'shvil Yisrael, included also all the umes ha'olam, all b'shvil Yisrael. And memela when because this is their whole tachlis and this is the whole kavana, so it's not shaykh for them to have any existence or to survive or to be, only if they're doing their tachlis, which that is b'shvil Yisrael. And this is also another nekuda which Sarah is bringing out. This nekuda that the tachlis is all b'nei Yisrael. It's not just bringing out the mile of Yidden, but it's also bringing out how all the other ummahs are all b'shul Yisrael. And this nekuda we see very strongly when it comes to the story of Neches. But Avraham Avinu is telling Neches, he's not telling them that if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to get it to you. Avraham Avinu is telling like this. Eretz Yisrael was given to Avraham. But there's a time for Eretz Yisrael, there's a time and place for everything to happen. There's a time and place when it is supposed to come to the hands of Avraham Avinu and to his children, to his descendants. So when was the main time when Eretz Yisrael was supposed to come to the descendants of Avraham Avinu? That was the time of Yeshua. Eden left Mitzrayim. Eden entered Eretz Yisrael. That was the main time when Eretz Yisrael was supposed to come into the hands of Eden. But we see that there are certain chalakim in Eretz Yisrael which they have their specific time when it's the time for them to come into the hands of Avraham. For example, one of the ratzis of Eretz Yisrael, which Hashem promised Avraham Avinu, Eretz Knizi and Kadmoni. Kini, Knizi, and Kadmoni was not part of the lands which Eden conquered in the man of Yeshua. When are we supposed to get this? When Mashiach is supposed to come. So we see that there are, when it comes to certain halakim in Eretz Yisrael,
so
even though in the whole.
Now we're going back in time.
Oh, okay.
It's a bigger chiddush.
Even though mostly we got most of the land by when it came Yeshua, but there are certain chalakim in Eretz Yisrael which they have their specific time when they're supposed to come. Maras HaMachpelah, there are certain midrashim which comes out that Maras HaMachpelah when was the Maras HaMachpelah meant to be given to Avraham Avinu? But when Sarah passed away. That was the time when Maras HaMachpelah was supposed to be given to Avraham Avinu. So what is Avraham telling Bnei Ches? Avraham is telling them like this: if you're gonna sell me Maras HaMachpelah, fine, I'll take it. If you're not gonna want to sell me Maras HaMachpelah is meant to be given to me right now, meant to be given for a Yid. You are here for me.
You're the Shaliach.
You're the Shliach. Your whole existence And Yehovah Labatschkeit of Maras Machpelah is only for that I should get right now Maras Machpelah. And if not, you don't exist. You don't exist. There's halacha that akum, a goy which is over on one of the sheva mitzvahs b'nei noach, it's Chayei Misa. Why is it Chayei Misa? Because the whole sheva mitzvahs b'nei noach was in order to make the world a better place. But when the world is a functioning place, it's functional, it's ran normally, it's a moral place, then you can be kind to the mitzvahs how they're supposed to be. If a goy does not make kind of sheva mitzvahs b'nei noach, then he loses his whole reason why to exist. So Mele is Chayei Misa. Mele is it.
So which of the mitzvahs are they rejecting in this instance?
Oh, it's not the mitzvahs, but the fact that the Eibishter wanted at this part of
But
this
apparently
thing,
they rejected the idea because we see Avraham Avinu had to pay for it.
they didn't reject it. They sold it to him. They sold it to him.
No, he
Avraham
says
Avinu-
either give it to me because it's mine, or sell
So
sell
this
it
is what
to
the
me.
Rebbe
So
is
apparently
saying.
they
Avraham
rejected
Avinu, so Avraham Avinu was not saying that it's mine. Avraham Avinu was saying that either you'll give it to me, or if you're not going to give it to me, they'll automatically come mine because it's not possible for you to have balabatishkeit on this Midas Machpelah if it's not for me, if it's not B'Shvil Yisrael. If the moment you're gonna stand in the way, you're gonna lose it. You're gonna get lost. How? That's already the Eibush Cheshbon. But the moment you're gonna stand in the way, you're gonna lose it. I'm not gonna force it to you. But this is the message that Avraham Avinu is gonna tell me. It's telling you, Ephraim, if you're gonna work with me, so then
you'll sell it to me.
So
Good. But if you refuse to
if
sell
you're
it
gonna
to me, then what?
if you refuse, so then you're going against the whole kavanah why you're here. If you're going against the whole kavanah why you're here, you're not just you're gonna miss the point. You're gonna missing.
But since he sold it,
you're gonna lose. You're not gonna you're gonna lose your Maras Machpelah and your whole Metzius is gonna be
but since he sold it, we don't see the alternative that you're.
We don't see
because he sold it.
Because he
So
sold
we
it.
don't see the alternative.
Correct.
There is
Correct.
a way to
But
sell it.
Avraham Avinu is telling him that if you're not going to sell it to me, then you're going to lose it automatically. Not that I'm going to have to force it to you,
Yeah.
but your only reason why you're here and the only reason why you have the balabatishkeit of Maris Machpelah is only to give it to Bnei Yisrael. If you're not going to give it to me, you're not going to give the place for me to bury Sarah, then you're gonna lose your whole balabatishkeit and your whole metzius, your whole existence is gonna seem is gonna cease to exist.
In other words,
Yeah, the question.
Abraham was supposed to pay.
Mm.
Abraham was supposed to pay to show everyone that I'm taking something away that I want you to see. I want you to see that you belong to me. I'm buying you, like I'm buying you. Like sometimes,
Avraham Avinu was willing to pay for it. Avraham Avinu was willing to pay for it. But the message that he's trying to give Ephraim is that don't think that by not selling it to me you're gonna keep it for yourself. You're not gonna keep it. So you might as well sell it to
I
me.
want to show you you there for me.
Yeah.
Because in business, many times you have a different law firm that's suing you. So the company go to the lawyers and says, how much is the company paying to sue me? He says $1 million. So I'm giving you $2 million, now you work for me against them.
Yeah.
So
You
that's
get a
what
question.
Abraham became.
Yeah.
There's the thing that about emotional control, right?
Yeah.
So how could
F1.
Efren take money for something that doesn't belong to him? It's like he sold the Brooklyn Bridge thing. Now from like buying the Brooklyn Bridge. It doesn't belong to Efren. He's paying it. He's being shyster.
So you could ask this question any mechira that a person makes. How could I sell you my house if it doesn't belong to me? It belongs to the Eibishter.
We would say Hashem Kol Eretz Kavoda, but in this world, the way people interact is we buy and sell things. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
otherwise
exactly.
the whole world is free.
It's part of the Memshala of the Eibishter, part of the Kavanah where Hashem created the world.
Because we need to give job to the Lord.
Part of the Kavanah, the Eibishter created the world, and the way the Eibishter created it is that that there should be, it should look like almost that it should be a matter of concealment. It should be a situation of concealment on Getlichkeit, and a person is going to have Bchira Choshes. Imagine if a person would see that, you go against the Eibishter, then boom, kaput, then the person has no Bchira. Hashem wants a person to do b'chir. Hashem wants a person to do Torah mitzvahs because
Hashem
he was
works.
worked, because he was beicher. He chose it. That's why that's why the Eibusha created
How
it.
does fear come into this?
No, I'm not. I'm saying, but I'm talking about a general concept. I'm not talking specifically about this over here. I'm just saying that b'chlal, this question of Ata Moshe Bakel is not a question specifically in Avraham Avinu. It's a question b'chlal in every buying and selling that a person does.
In the beginning, everyone said to Avraham Avinu,
And you
no, I give it to
Muhammad.
you for free, right? And
Well,
Avraham, yeah, and then Avraham says, no, I want to pay for it. Don't tell me later on it's not mine. It's I'm going to pay for it. It's mine 100%. Even you should agree
Give him
it's
the
mine.
So,
And he told him, Beni Bencho.
who did Ephraim buy it from?
I have no idea.
Who say buy
Hashem
it?
gave it to him, right?
Who say buy it?
It could be it was given directly from Hashem or in a direct way, or it could be that in generally Eretz Canaan was belonged to Bnei Shem, not to Bnei Cham. Ches was from Bnei Cham, not from Bnei Shem. So they got it later. There was a Mechama, and Canaan was conquering the land of Eretz Canaan from Bnei Shem. So somehow it got into the hands of Ches. Could be he had it from a Yerusha. He inherited from his parents. Anyhow, this is basically the nekuda, or the nekuda of all the above. It's all trying to bring out how this whole parsha is this whole parsha, or the whole burying in Avram and Yitzchak getting married. Is all bringing out this nekuda, how this is it's not after Sarah's life. This is Sarah's life. Whatever Sarah stands for being specifying the mile of a yid, how the yid is the nekud of everything, the yid is the ikar of everything, and this idea plays itself out in all the parts of the parsha of the fact that Sarah Imenu is b'chlal buried in Maras Machpelah, and that the way how Avraham Avinu got Maras Machpelah, and the way how the shidduch of Avraham Avinu and of Rivka, not from Eliezer. All bring out this nekuda, this idea how the tachlis and the focus of everything is all about the Yid.
And by the Bnei Keturah at the end of the parsha, how does that fit in with this?
Oh, because it says that Avraham Avinu gave them matanis and he sent them away all from Yitzchak. Basically, Avraham Avinu gave all his possessions all to Yitzchak, meaning that Yitzchak is the inheritor of Avraham Avinu.
Yeah.
The Rebbe learns it from this out of Eirah, that when Shastan comes to a situation where the Rebbe was talking about, this Sicha was said in 1974, 1973. That was when, after the 6th Day War, when the Muslims were having kindness on Maras Machpelah that belongs to them. So the Rebbe is saying the whole nekuda of this week's parsha is all about Fakad, Maras Machpelah. Who's buried in Maras Machpelah? Sarah Imenu is buried in Maras Machpelah. It's in fact, it's Sarah Imenu who the one who said that Kivitzki Kara L'Chazara. It's the whole Maras Machpelah is bringing out that Yitzchak is the inherent of Avram. Yitzchak is the one. Yitzchak is the main thing, and Yitzchak is the mamshech. Yitzchak is the continuer and inheritor of Avram.
What's interesting is the Arabs never buried any of their leaders in Maras Machpelah. Not Mohammed, none of throughout history.
Right.
And the Machpelah is like 2,000 years old, 1,500 years old. The fortress, how old is it?
Oh, Herod.
So like 2,000 years. None of the Arabs, none of the Muslim tribes ever buried their most chashuv leaders in the Maras Machpelah. And if they thought, on the other hand, you see by Harabayas, they put major mosques on there, but for some reason by Hebron, they never tried to bury their great people there.
They understood it's not belong to them at all.
Yeah.
They all go there, the whole, so it's
Like
This
30,000
expresses the whole.
you think
Chayei Sarah, yeah.
They're making
They
tents
sleep in tents.
and
And
everybody davening and dancing.
They have one problem, Kever Yitzchak, not the Kever, wherever it is, the whole year, Jews cannot go in.
Yeah, only 10
One
times a
day
year.
a year.
more than one day.
No, 10 times a year.
10 times.
No, the
10
Arabs
times a year?
and the Jews have a cheshbon.
10 times a year.
Like 10 times a year, the Arabs have exclusive use of the whole fortress. And then 10 times a year, Rosh Hashanah and first side of Elul for Slichos and
You mean they
Kippur.
gave us,
It's a cheshbon.
yeah, take some days.
Yeah.
After both
Sure.
books, then kill off the Arab of the it's called.
Call my sukkahs.
They made
Well, so they have like a gate, a fence.
Yeah.
You can't
No,
go over
they-
to it.
Can I go?
When I was
It's
Israel,
called the Ulam Yitzchak.
Yeah.
It's
The
covered.
room, Olam Yitzchak.
And you can't walk into
A
that.
couple of years ago, there was an American doctor that couldn't take it anymore.
More like 20,
Shoot.
over 20
I
years.
remember, he took a gun in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And
Started shooting.
so a lot of wrong words.
Yeah, well, oh.
Baruch Goldstein,
No, depending when you go to Hebron, like when I went to Hebron right after Pesach,
They don't let
it was
anymore
Ramadan.
go to the.
So
Close the
it
door.
was closed.
No, in the
they
mountain,
still- we do-
the oil.
We have a permanent calendar. They still use
Right.
the moon to determine when Rosh Chodesh is.
Right.
So they made a mistake.
No,
So when I went to Hebron that day, the week after Pesach,
Just close the door.
it was closed to Jews, so we davened outside.
Yeah, Kever Rambam inside.
No, you have the seven
No,
steps.
the Rambam is in Tver.
Yeah, you
Not
have the,
Rambam, Ramban.
The ban is over there.
no, the
Yeah,
Rambam's
but when you're going in on the right side, that Kever Rambam. And they have a little ohel there that we daven and everything. Go next time.
So
Yeah.
go back.
When you're going in on the right side, before you go
Yesterday I
in
saw in the vault.
on the top of the steps,
You
Yesterday I
have
saw
the
in
seven
vault.
on
steps.
the bottom.
the bottom.
The
When you
bottom
go
of the
in, maybe the
seven steps?
first few steps, yeah.
אז אתה זוכר?
I don't recall that.
Me?
עפרון תול אברהם אבינו. ביני ובינך 400 שקל
מאי.
ביני ובינך מאי.
Yeah.
Why you use this lotion? ביני ובינך מאי 400 שקל. Remember I told you this last time. The middle letter of Avraham Avinu,
Oh,
which letter
yeah.
is this?
Hey,
No, Aleph, base, Avraham, Reish.
Mm.
Hey, no, so Reish, how much is Gematria for Reish?
200.
200. F1, Aleph, Pei.
Interesting.
Reish.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
F1, the middle letter is Reish, and Avraham middle letter is
Yeah.
Beini Uvencho, the 200 mine,
In
200
between.
kilos.
Yeah,
Give it
yeah.
to me. Give it to me. Go on. No, but we said the question, so how come Avraham Avinu go against his wife and married Hagar and have 6 children?
Yeah.
Not only that,
Yeah, that was your question before this.
before, and then he says, I'm kicking out these 6 children. He gave him Matanas and sent him out. Not only Yitzchok will be my Rishnada.
Yeah.
The whole is against his wife. So what's the difference, the ideology between Sarah and Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu says in his Sarah time when she's alive, I cannot bring this kind of Hagar to my house.
But I don't know if it's an accurate answer, because the whole idea of Chayei Sarah is that Avraham Avinu, even after Sarah passed away, the legacy of Sarah, he kept on the legacy of Sarah.
So then you should
So-
not take
So then how do
Yeah,
you marry? According
So
to
the
your
prob- the
Sicha,
prob-
you wouldn't
the
have
problem
married-
of
wouldn't have-
Hagar-
wouldn't have married
The
two
problem
women.
of Hagar wasn't the actual having Hagar in the house. It was the fact that Hagar didn't know her place.
She was what?
Hagar didn't know her place. She didn't know that Kilayira has been on. She didn't understand that Avraham Avinu Kibbutz Kfarah Chazorah. She thinks I'm a wife of Avraham Avinu, just like Sarah is a wife of Avraham Avinu. And Yishmael is a son of Avraham Avinu, just like Yitzchak is a son of Avraham Avinu.
So the
married her again under his name.
Oh, because that's like Keturah means she did tshuva. Keturah means
That's what
Maaseh
she
did.
and Noam
Then
Kippurah.
She changed.
She did
But then-
tshuva.
so then what
She did
about-
tshuva.
but
Again, in the pasuk itself, it's you have to say it from the pasuk itself, because the pasuk itself says that last week's parsha we say Vatelech Vatesa b'midbar be'yeshav. So Vatesa means that she blundered, but also means Avodah Zarah is also called Toyeva. So Chazal say Vatelech Vatesa. I think Rashi brings it down Vatesa, that she went back to the Avodah Zarah of her
So she
father.
did tshuva.
But then we say that she's called Keturah. That Masa Noam Ketaydes, her actions are beautiful like Ketaydes.
came back to
So what does
Avraham
it
Avinu.
mean? It means that she obviously did tshuva of something. So it's muchach from the psukim itself. It's muchach that she was a matter that she had to do tshuva. And she
So you're
did tshuva.
saying that she did tshuva, but Avraham Avinu ultimately sent away the children of Keturah because they did not do tshuva.
No, not that they sent them away, but meaning to say that those were not the main. These are not Avraham Avinu's. This is not Avraham Avinu's hemshech. This is not Avraham Avinu's continuation.
He was Mefasim Malakut even to this going.
Yeah.
But Avraham Avinu
now
said
go
very.
away from here.
But-
I see the Lakud that
Yeah.
Mefasim is not really into
And you don't see that they,
Mafka-
and you don't see they objected.
No.
If it would have bothered them and say, we also
No,
want to
no,
be part
exactly,
of the Zera of Rav,
exactly.
they would have objected. They
Yeah.
would have
Sarah
made a time.
know that only Yitzchok. Avraham thought
Yeah.
they could do also. This was his malach that I could bring it back and make it
Mhm.
Balshuva and even the children. Sarah says, no,
Yeah.
no, you can't. This is good.